Good evening, lords and ladies. DJ Craigie here, with my amazing wife and co-host, Ming Chow and Neapolitan Wu. We're here with the Progeny Behind the Fang podcast, and joining us this fine evening, a very special guest, Infernal Feli. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello,
Not too
everyone.
much.
Hi, Lady Felly.
Hello,
I'm so
I also
excited
answered
that
to
you're here.
that felly, or this felly, or that one, or
Or just
That
Uh-oh.
Felly.
that felly.
It's that one.
It's that one.
that little short girl who bit me. Oh,
Yep, that's me. How's it going, everybody?
Good. How
Oh,
are
it's
you?
a-
We're so excited, honored to have you.
yes,
thank
it's
you.
some big things coming in Progeny, and especially for you. So let's get into it. And please tell us about your roles in Progeny and how you came to be embraced.
Well, I've got. It's when I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, wow, where did all these roles come from? But I'm Princeps of the House Necromancers. Ha ha ha.
Love that name. I love it.
Sovereign of the great clan of Necropolis, of which I have some amazing leaders with me, including my COSAV DB, my ambassador Rusa, and my proxy Cami. I am nothing without my great friends of Necropolis, and actually they're more like a family to me, so I wouldn't be here without them. I'm Blood Regent to the best line, Church Frenzy, with my Archsis for Dandy and AA Dylan. And I'm also Infernal to Diabolic Domino, well, for helping out with this podcast, in fact.
Yes, and you're
Oh.
doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
You sure
Um,
are, and you're surrounded. I gotta say, you are surrounded by some amazing people. That's
Oh,
really
yeah.
awesome.
They are. They amaze me all the time. And they keep me in check, too, so I don't, and they are the best. They are the best. And, if I'm being a jerk one day, they're not afraid to tell me. But how often am I really being a jerk? It's like never.
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 Well, exactly. We're just the most nicest people out there.
Right? So,
Yeah.
how I became a vampy is kind of like a sad story, but I lost all my family way back into the Black Plague. And so I was out there just, out on my own, and a vampy found me and, well, made me, and, spent a couple of years doing this and that, and this and that, and that and this, and over the hundreds of years, I've got this new amazing family. And I was even adopted by, Diabolic Parth. So, like, she's my mom, and sorry, but I think I'm her favorite.
What? No.
I think I'm her favorite.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
you-
Well, I knew she always thought I was the black sheep of the family.
Because, it's like, I'm adopted.
Yeah. You redheaded stepchild, you.
Right?
Well,
No,
I'm a huge
I'm a
fan.
redheaded adopted child. We always joke
Yes.
that she got me into the divorce.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
I love
Well,
it.
I'm a
was
huge
like-
fan of the Black Plague and also your mug shots that you do.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. I'm like obsessed with those.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad you like them.
Yes, thank you.
Felly's framed you, by the way. I have a store. Plug,
Mhm.
plug.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
For all those that like to go shopping, I have a store.
I remember the
Got
first
some
time
good
I
stuff
saw it.
in
I'm
there.
like, this framed by Feli. That name sounds familiar. And I'm like, oh my
Felly's
god,
framed you. That is the name of my store. I thought it was clever. Felly's framed you.
Feli's framed
It's
you. I
very
apologize.
clever.
Yeah.
I love
And my
it.
gotcha
I
store,
bought
guess
every
what?
frame when you
Felly's
first
gotcha.
started. I remember that. I was like, I love this.
I love it too. Well, that's a very colorful history that you have. So, we are here to talk to you today about some exciting news for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this exciting new Charon guide and your classes.
Okay, well, so it came to be that the archers are going to be handing over the reins of the chairing of the COH. So it was then discussed that there needs to be some training before it's just handed over. And there's already materials on the meetings themselves, but there needed to be something for how to chair, because just knowing the rules of the meeting doesn't mean that you know how to necessarily chair.
Right. Absolutely.
So along with so we decided that we would do some classes too. So along with a guide that will be handed out at the meet, so that you have something to take home with you. You know, some scrolls.
A
Um,
goodie bag.
yeah, like a little goodie bag. And the classes will be part classroom, part mock meeting. And then there's also like the buddy system that we'll have in place with, like, you'll have a buddy arch to co-chair with before they give their stamp of approval, and you will receive a certificate that you're eligible to chair.
Wow, I like
I
that.
absolutely love that. And chairing is it's very intimidating for so many people.
It really is, and that's one of the things that when I didn't always like going to meetings. I still don't really, but
Hmm.
because they're sometimes turn into just a argue fest
Yes.
or what have you. So
Oh,
we
most
just
definitely. I've watched a couple, and they're like, you know how you see on the television where, excuse me, Mr. Speaker, and they just start bickering away. It's very political, and you have to be well conducted. So I see how that the
it's
guide
very
in the
intimidating.
classes
Yeah.
can kind of like mold somebody to be able to handle that and deal with it in the right way.
Yes. You
Yeah,
have to be
nobody
well
wants
versed.
and nobody wants to look like they don't know what they're doing or
Exactly.
cause craziness, and they so also, like, I also have materials on just the meetings themselves. So if anybody wants to contact me in World, I can hand you training materials for just the regular meeting stuff, not just the chairing. So I got that too.
That is awesome.
That is really, I might
I'm
have
looking
to read
forward
that
to attending
myself.
these classes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have it. I have it as far as like made up into training materials that you could also res out in your on your lands to teach your own people how to go to meetings and stuff like that. Um, and what the rules of the meetings are. It's so everybody has a chance to go there and learn.
hmm
I
I
think this is
remember
very
when
exciting.
Ming and I first started, we would just stand there and observe.
Yeah, be like,
Yes.
what did they
In the
just do?
balcony because we
hmm
are renegades.
Point of order. What? What's
Yeah,
that?
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I remember asking her that. I'm like, what is that? Like,
What are they doing? Why
y-
is
why,
that
why do they?
person yelling?
Yeah, why do they keep saying that? It's like, what does that mean?
Right?
Yeah.
I just like the adjourn one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to bring so much interest back to the community with Council of Houses, and I just think everyone's going to feel, less intimidated to chair and more knowledgeable. I just think this is amazing. It's going to bring back a lot of good stuff. Role
Mhm.
play. So you're doing this is it's incredible.
And you know, which kind of brings it to my next question about like how will this change things for the community at large and the way the COH is like currently chaired. Basically
Hmm.
you kind of answered that
Yeah.
in
Well, basically, right now the arches are cheering,
hmm
and the COHs. But how it will change things? It will, like you said, it will give our princeps more knowledge on how the meetings work and make them more involved. I think more importantly, that's what is going to make our community more involved in these meetings. And this part of being a vampire. This is a whole. Um, we know how crazy those meetings can get,
hmm
and so before we just hand it over, we want to make sure the princeps are not deers in headlights, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
perfect analogy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
It's like
Yeah.
what should I do? Yeah, no, and
Exactly. So, and they'll always, even after they get the stamp of approval, don't think that they'll ever be like alone because there's always going to be somebody there that'll be there to help if you get into trouble or stuck or something like that.
mhm.
So,
Someone to
yeah.
kind of have your back in a situation of sorts. I see, and that's smart
Mm-hmm.
because and there's so
Absolutely.
many people that are so passionate about different issues that it's really needed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This opens up so much, like some amazing new opportunities for a lot of people.
Mhm.
So, all right. So now we want to hear about the new COH agenda, and hopefully it's going to replace the empty ones. So tell us about
Right.
that.
So, so long our the way I presented it was for so long our agendas have been boring
Mm-hmm.
because basically if there's no motion there's no meeting. Well,
Mhm.
so came up with the idea of revamping the agenda a little bit to and the concept for the new agenda was simply founded on speaking to the old timers, like Diabolic Domino and Diabolic Parth. Mom, love you. And looking through our meeting history and what our meetings used to be. And
Mhm.
what they used to be is they used to be more conversational. Um, but it
Mhm.
turned into motion based. So then if there was no motion, there was no meeting. So, but this new agenda takes us back to what we used to be, but it also makes it new at the same time. So it brings back conversations to the COH.
Mhm.
So,
I
so that
love
we could
that.
talk about things going on in our world. You never know what might come up. So the new agenda, there's roll call, which is the same, announcements, old business, new business, but
Mhm.
then there's news of the day. And this will be a timer will be set and we could discuss this random things that's going on in our world that we want to maybe think about maybe presenting a motion on later, but we would just kind of want to see what everybody's thinking about it. Like
Mhm.
I
In real
mentioned that,
time.
yeah, I mentioned the last one. I was like something that's been troubling me about, humans
Mhm.
at one of the meetings. And I just wanted to see what other people were feeling about humans in our midst and stuff like that. So I wanted to see what other people, if they were thinking the same thing before I think about making up a motion. Because in conversations, you might come up with an idea for something that makes change,
Mhm.
future change,
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
and
Open
it's a
dialogue.
yeah, exactly. So that's what news of the day is about. So let's bring up maybe somebody's having problems at certain sims or other areas, and somebody else has a solution. You never know what's going to come up in these conversations.
Mhm.
Um, Another section, source news. We all know how busy he is.
Mhm.
Yes.
He is busy, and you know what? Sometimes those ravens with news from him gets lost.
Yes.
So we kind of like source news. We have a reporter that is going to go out and find out information, and they're going to sneak it back to the COH and report it to us because we need to know what's going on from the source. And
Oh, I
sometimes
just love that.
those
Because
ravens
not
just,
everyone belongs to COL, the Discord
yeah.
group. So,
Mhm.
So those ravens get lost sometimes, and in those notices. So I think it's great that we can discuss it and bring some news. So every meeting that we have, somebody new, because somebody new
Mhm.
will be nominated to go and fetch the news from the source and bring it back to the next COH.
And I like that. It keeps everybody in the loop, and yeah,
and on the
that's
same page. It's
yeah.
Yeah,
universal standard news.
and
There's
exactly.
no
So,
assumptions. So
mm-hmm,
Hmm.
okay.
exactly. So
Incredible.
that's
Fantastic.
kind of where, and it takes us back, and I think it creates more dialogue and more knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
most
And I love the way
definitely.
you said revamp.
Me
I
too.
love that.
That's like one of my favorite phrases.
Yes.
So, How is like the chairing guide different from what we currently have, if I may ask? And how did like you come up with the new concept, or like was it a group effort?
Well, the chairing guide is kind of it's a little bit different than just the regular meeting guide. And the meeting guide came from the Rules and Procedures Committee, where things were just made very simpler
Mm-hmm.
um, and easier to understand for everybody to understand. Because, well, even though we've got hundreds of years and of experience in the world, not all of us spent those hundreds of years in college.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
Yes.
So we need simpler rules, and we needed it simplified and easy to
Layman's
understand.
terms.
Yeah, um, and so we did that with the Rules and Procedures Committee, and then when they said, "Oh well, the chairing's going to be handed over," so well, I said, to myself, "Well, we kind of need this for how to chair. We need to make it simpler for that." And so I took the same similar kind of concept and made a guide, but it's pointed towards chairs, because the chairs, they have to know, they have to control the meetings. They have to keep it from chaos. They have to know the rules of the meetings really well to keep the order, to keep it from
Mm-hmm.
chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the course is done in what I think the best way to teach one through the eyes of a chair.
Mm-hmm.
I was never one for these meetings, like I said before. And when I said I was not going to let others decide things for me,
Mm-hmm.
I started going, and I had no idea what was going on. So in researching and putting it together and working with the Rules and Procedures Committee, it just
Well, I really.
it just became to be, and that's what the idea was behind it, was to make it simpler and easy to understand. And I found at least one great teacher that I think is going to be great for teaching this course to help out is Lady Kylie is going to be
Mm-hmm.
on board with teaching this course as well.
That is amazing. She has so much chairing experience. So, I
Mhm.
mean, this is.
Oh, most
Uh,
definitely. Like I was gonna say, probably I seen her in that chair more than most. So
yeah.
like it's.
I think I caught her carving her name into it one day.
I was gonna say.
Uh,
She's
Oh,
a wood whittler.
yeah.
not gonna lie, I love
Wow.
that. I love whittling too. Gotta leave your
Whittlers.
mark.
Not. And you know what this does, in essence, is this gives back the voice to the people. Like you
Yeah.
said, people stop going because, there's no agenda. It's boring. They don't know what to do.
Yeah,
They don't
nobody wants
know.
to go there, just roll call and leave.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot of crowd to go there.
well, it's kind of a waste
Yeah.
of time, and from what you've explained, I really see a lot more productivity coming out of these meetings, which is a
I
great
do
thing.
too.
And it's not always about how many motions can you make? I
Mhm.
mean, it's not always about the motions. It's about the conversations, what's going on in the realm. What's meeting and seeing others that you wouldn't normally see in a day. Some people travel from all the way from Transylvania and from other
Yeah.
parts of the world to be at these
Yeah.
meetings for there just to turn around and got to go get back.
It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, it was great to see you. I'll see ya.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
No, that
So it
really
is.
makes me happy to hear, because the productivity will just, it'll push not only, like I said, productivity, but it'll push the community to more work together and more things done and implemented. It's rather exciting. So I gotta give
It
mad
is.
props to.
This opens up so many different, opinions. This so many different voices from so many different groups of people now.
Mhm.
So it's going to be fantastic. So when
Just
do you
make sure you raise your
anticipate?
hand, everybody.
Yes, raise your hand.
And
Use
don't
the
forget the
speakable.
emote.
Yes, and dress appropriately, please.
Oh, goodness. No, 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 don't bring up dress code.
Oh, sorry. Whoop. We'll just leave that out. So when do you anticipate these classes to begin?
Well, with working with Lady Kylie, who's gonna, like I said, who's gonna help teach these, is depending on turnout and signups. We're hoping to start these classes very, very soon. We're gonna not nail down some dates. We're trying to just figure out, probably thinking like during the week. Maybe get some people, maybe in the evenings or something like that. We're trying to gauge what do we think is going to be the best times, and then trying to see, based on turnout and how many show up, we might have to do, like, I might have to teach some, she might have to teach some, depending on turnout and how many people, to see what we need to add. And please be patient with us as we figure this out, because this is new to us too. We don't have all of the answers, although we like to think so.
Yeah.
But see,
So-
you may not have the answers, but you also have the tools to get the answers. So.
Exactly, but we don't have all of the answers as far as like what's going to be perfect working class schedule or perfect. We might start the classes and be like, oh, this didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, okay, well, we have to change up the format a little bit. So, but behind it all, we have, good thoughts in mind, and we want to do what's best for the COH, and we want to make it. We want to make this happen, and we want to make it good for everybody.
Well, and if you get a good time that like can kind of not, I don't want to say support, but can kind of make it easy for everybody from different time zones to show up, I think it'll do quite well. That's usually the problem, like Saturday morning at like, what is it, 7? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm sleeping.
It's
Right?
12, Craig.
Oh,
It's
12.
always 12.
Well, and then there's multiple parts to these. So, because it's not going to be wham bam, I'm a chair, ma'am. It's that's a new phrase. I just made that up.
I like it.
Right? New right.
But so there's multiple parts to this. It's because, and it's not going to be all in one afternoon, because there's going to be, like I said, there's the classroom part. There's a mock meeting part, because we want to get together and do like a little mock meeting so everybody can test out their new skills. And then there's the co-chairing, which will be actual meetings. You'll be actually co-chairing with an arch at an actual live COH meeting. And then when the arch is like, okay, yeah, you got this, and they'll be like, oh, Belly, this one needs a certificate. And then I'll make you a pretty little certificate with your name on it, and bam, you're eligible to chair yourself, all on your own. But you're still not going to be like all alone, but because people will be there to help you.
Well, and the shadowing is
if you
really
need it.
important.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
well, so, like, who is everybody? I assume is able to attend the classes, or like, do they need like to be eligible for a chair? Obviously, do they need to?
Princeps?
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
how-
Yeah, right now it's
Princeps?
Princeps. Right now it's
Okay.
Princeps.
Okay.
For now it's Princeps, and then and as people get their certificates, there will be like a list of eligible chairs. So as people get them, there'll be a list that I'm thinking that will probably be with the scribes, a list of eligible chairs, and then updated, and then every meeting, just like what used to happen is every meeting, a chair will be nominated for the next meeting, because I don't think we want to do a formal schedule, simply because we don't want to feel like people are forced to come chair. You're on the schedule. You must be there. Boom.
When
We
there's
want
a
it to be-
schedule, it seems like work, right?
Yeah,
Resentment
exactly. And this,
develops.
but when you say, "Hey, you're nominated to chair the next meeting," or do you accept this nomination? Why, yes, or what have you, and then you are the chair for the next meeting, and then you're saying that you're going to be there, and and stuff like that, and you're going to take that responsibility.
Yeah, and you know what? That inspires like people to step up too. So cool.
Yeah, and
Right.
like I said, and then I think there's going to be a few people that are going to get to be, of course, like I want to say grandfathered in, like like a babu.
Hmm.
Ah, yeah. Well, of course.
Kylie, of course, she's teaching the course, so
Right.
and then like even some of the arches that are also still house leaders. So if they still have their houses, if they're still a princeps, they can
Hmm.
obviously be get us a little certificate from me, but they have to have their certificate.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like, and I like how you said about the grandfather thing because, like, I mean, if anybody's a grandfather in Progeny, I think Babu would be one, and I've seen him chair quite a few times. So,
Well,
Hmm.
I mean, he
Yes.
is related to everybody,
right.
so
Yes.
I imagine he
That's
is.
true. That's true.
I mean,
Everybody likes to
I'm.
to claim him.
I mean,
Well,
he
this
can
would be
be
quite an
intimidating, but
honor.
that man has some
Right?
knowledge.
Yes,
And
he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Well, this would be quite an honor then to be nominated to chair, and this is groundbreaking. Like this is going to be history going down in Progeny. So,
Yeah.
will this later then be applied to the GCSC meetings as well, or what are you guys looking at for the future?
Well, I think for now it's COH only so far, and it's a good test to see how good this goes, and maybe to see if it goes to the GCSC
mhm.
later on. But for now, the arches are still going to be chairing the GCSE. You don't want to uh, lose the chairs to everything so quickly.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's a good thing to start at the COH and see how it goes, and same thing with the agenda. If the agenda works really well with the at the COH level, maybe the GCSE might want to start looking at maybe revamping
Their whole.
um, their agenda a little bit. It doesn't have to be the same; it could be different. And I
Right.
know some scribes just cringed at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, not different agendas.
Yeah. I know, right?
Oh,
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna be hunted
You're
by
gonna
some
get some hate mail
tribes.
now,
it's so
Lady
funny.
Sally.
Did anybody else hear that like Second Life emo that
Anonymous hate mail.
no? well, well, awesome. This sounds like really exciting, and
It does.
you never know. You might even see DJ Craigie up in that chair one day, because I am really interested. So,
Well, that's good.
Yes, yes,
I'm not
yes.
even gonna laugh at that. I don't think that's a joke. I think that's great if it brings more people to the table and something else to do, and to learn. And like I said, it, it's valuable to know what's
mhm.
going on, and because there's things that come out of this meeting that affect us in other parts of our world.
Well, and for
Absolutely.
people that like, I don't want to say antisocial, but people that aren't exactly like out and about all the time and whatnot, they're not going to hear about any of it. So I see.
Exactly.
Hmm. And to get
Exactly.
different voices, different
Mhm.
takes on everything, it brings in a new flavor. I mean, it's going to be just, I mean, it's great. It's going to
And
be
even
fantastic.
those that are not in house leadership can come to
Mhm.
the meetings and sit up in the balconies and pay attention and watch. It's
And
not just
aspire to be house
yeah,
leaders one
yeah,
day. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
A new generation of princeps.
Yep.
It
And
inspires people.
And you
there's
never
no
know.
shame
Hey.
for
Your
being at the
princeps,
balcony. I rocked
your
that balcony for
princeps.
months.
Yeah, your princeps could be down in the chairs, and you have a point of view. That you message your princeps, send down a quick raven, and be like, listen.
Hmm.
And you never know what
Exactly.
ideas come up from everywhere. Anything can make our realm better.
Exactly.
Well, well, I really, really appreciate you being here with us tonight and telling us all this because this is like some mind-blowing stuff, and I'm really excited to see how it just changes
out.
the whole scenario of the meetings. And I'm sure
Yeah.
they're going to be, I don't want to say dull, but I'm sure it'll be a lot, like you said, there's going to be something to be done. It's not going to be roll call and bye-bye.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. This is a whole new ball game, folks. Play ball.
Well,
Yeah.
well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about this
Yeah.
exciting new opportunity, or
Any parting words?
Well, I would say come out, take the courses, Princeps. Come out and take, because even if you say, hey, chairing's not for me, come out and, as a Princeps, come out and take the course, because it might make the meetings very easier to understand, and you understand what the chair's going through.
Mhm.
And it'll also maybe help keep order in the place. And even if, and you could take it back to your house and teach your house about the meetings and stuff like that. Parting words for tonight? Gosh. Y'all know me. I may not believe in some of these rules that come up at these meetings, and most certainly I hate bite rules. I absolutely hate the bite rules. But while they're in place, I'll follow them.
Mhm.
But what I do believe in is fighting against the rules. I was never really like one for these meetings, but I believe in trying to change them instead of sitting back and crying that the rules are unfair.
Mhm.
So my final thought, if you don't pay attention, if you're not involved, you don't fight for the things, then you will be victim to these things. You will be victims to others because you're not standing up for anything. You're going to be victim to it.
Amen. If you don't
Yeah,
speak out,
those
you
are
won't
some
be heard.
great pardon. Yeah, that's great advice, honestly.
So that's all I got, folks. That's all I got.
Well,
Well,
you know,
thank you. This has been I learned so much today. Thank you for doing this.
most definitely, Felly. It's always a pleasure just to hang out with you. So I want to thank you
Always.
too, because you rock, and thank you
Sometimes
everybody.
I roll. No, just
We,
And the podcast episodes look amazing. You're doing a fantastic job. We can't thank you enough.
thank you. I do try. Try to put
You
a little
do
fun.
good work.
That's what we need to do. Is we need to bring the fun back in, and that's what all this is about. Is bringing fun back into a lot of things that fun has disappeared from.
well, and it
Yeah.
all starts with, like how you said, participation is key. So,
Exactly.
I mean, even
Exactly.
if I'll just say it, even if you don't like the chair, go to the meeting, because, like you said, there's something to be learned, and something is going to be happening. So.
Yeah, and like I said, if you don't pay attention and and whatnot, you're gonna fall victim to what others believe.
Mhm.
Look
Get
at
your
what
voice
happened with
out
the bite
there.
rules. Look what happened with the bite rules. We couldn't convince anybody to come in and watch what was happening, and now we we have bite rules.
Yes.
I mean, I have
Just
so many
saying.
holes in my back from being on stage and getting nipped. It was a little bit easier on me, but I get it. I get why. Because, you know,
We have bite rules.
yeah, and
I-
realistically,
My
yeah,
things
you know
are
what
meant
I'm
to be free.
Mm-hmm.
I cover my neck with a very fashionable scarf.
Oh, sheesh.
All
Wow,
right.
I need like a rug for my neck.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a real pleasure. And thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you slap that subscribe button to be notified for our new notifications and our upcoming podcasts. Lady Felly, it's a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
It really was. It's an honor. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
All right. Keep an eye out for the notices for when the classes start. Keep an eye out.
Absolutely. Yes. We'll keep everyone posted.
The Ravens will be flying. Have
Yes.
a great night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.